Hey fight fans, today in this video, it has been finally decided that Khamzat Chimaev will remain at welterweight. But they do not rule out the chance that Chimaev still could have a middleweight title fight at some point. But what exactly is next for Chimaev? The transition to middleweight really looks like a compromise. Chimaev could run through one of the least competitive divisions of the UFC, where there are really only 3 top fighters. Who are they? Well, stay tuned because we will break it all down. So today, analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter, we are going to identify who has the greatest chances of winning. But before we dive in, we have one request. Please help to support our channel with a like and subscribe. It really does motivate us to make the best video every time. So let's go. So let's start off with the fact that Alan Nascimento, Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach for Khamzat Chimaev, has stated that Khamzat will continue to compete in the welterweight division. Referring to the Usman-Edwards pending rematch, he said, "The 170 division is a bit stuck because there will be a rematch. Chimaev's situation at 170 is he either waits for the fight or serves as a backup fighter in case someone gets injured. But in case he moves up, a fight with a top 5 guy would definitely be interesting. We thought about going up, but we have created a legacy at 170 already. If we go up to 185, everything would have been for nothing, except for the experience. But the focus is on becoming a champion." After he mentioned going up, we sat down with the whole team and decided to wait for the welterweight division to settle, so at least we have a title fight. If he wins, perfect, we go for the next one. If he loses, we
gonna smash Montana and then smash Kareem, gonna smash Reinberg,
So what is next for Chimaev? If he made weight and D-class Diaz, then a fight with Covington would have been inevitable. But I think Dana White will definitely be against him continuing at welterweight. He's just not going to tolerate another missed weight cut. Therefore, the transition to the middleweight division looks like a compromise. Then Dana doesn't have to worry about the weight and trying to come up with backup plans just in case. And Chimaev would do really well in a pretty slim division where there are only 3 top fighters: Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira, and Robert Whittaker. So let's kick things off with Alex Pereira. Now imagine this scenario. At UFC 281, the Brazilian knocks out Israel Adesanya and becomes the new middleweight king. I think we can all agree that that is a possibility. Then the UFC will want to have an immediate rematch between Pereira and Adesanya, but if Izzy gets injured and disappears for a year, then a fight with Chimaev is quite possible. Unlikely, but possible. Pereira doesn't have a ground game, but he does have elite striking. Chimaev is not going to take any risks, so he will try to take Alex down immediately. Alex's camp knows this, so they will train defense against takedowns and work on his ground game. But Boers will catch him sooner or later. For Khamzat, the most important thing is not to get caught by Pereira's signature left hook. If the fight goes to the ground, then it will not be a problem for Chimaev to put him away. Next up is Israel Adesanya. For Boers, the fight with Adesanya is an interesting one. Not only will the UFC be excited for this fight, but for Khamzat, this is a great option. In his last few fights, Adesanya works for points while taking practically no damage. But for this style of fighting, he has received a lot of criticism. So if this fight happens, Adesanya will try to keep Chimaev at a distance so that the Swede cannot take him down. But Robert Whittaker managed to do it 4 different times. Whittaker did not have enough physical strength and size to keep Izzy down for long, but Robert still had almost 4 minutes of ground control. Now, we do not rule out that Boers could become a big rival for Adesanya, who may give him his second loss in his career. I think with proper matchmaking, Chimaev's path to the middleweight belt will be a short one. One solid victory is enough for him to reach the title fight. And let's be honest, it's unlikely that Dana will give Khamzat an opponent that Chimaev won't be able to beat. Why, you ask? Because then the whole hype train that is Khamzat Chimaev goes off the rails. But then again, I don't see anyone that could put a stop to this train. After UFC 279, I am sure that Chimaev will get a top-ranked opponent. And of course, he will probably defeat him and then would more than likely get that title shot. But I'm very curious, what do you think? Will Chimaev manage to control Izzy on the ground? Write your thoughts down in the comments. And let's not forget, we also have Paulo Costa. The Brazilian has really been wanting a fight with Chimaev, and they already have a bit of history. It's a fight that I think a lot of people would love to see. I think we can agree that this fight would be one of the most anticipated fights in recent memory. You have two charismatic and bright guys who love to go back and forth on social media. What could be better? And after the fight with Luke Rockhold, Costa has a lot of hype, and Chimaev is the most talked about fighter in the last few months. As for the fight itself, I do believe that Chimaev gets the victory. But Costa is a very powerful guy. He has powerful punches and a strong jaw. Costa ate some nice shots from Marvin Vettori and Luke Rockhold. Now, Chimaev does have knockout power, but I would like to see if Chimaev could actually knock out Costa. But as we all know, Boers will try to take the fight to the ground. Now, Costa supposedly has a BJJ black belt, but we have never seen him use those skills. Costa's physical conditioning will allow him to defend takedowns and ground control, but for how many rounds? And speaking of rounds, Chimaev is still untested at 5 rounds, and Costa survived 25 minutes with the very powerful Marvin Vettori. So it would be a very interesting fight to watch. And finally, we've got the saucy rookie Bo Nickal. Now, he has not yet made his debut in the organization, but he already wants to fight one of the biggest stars in the UFC.
I'm going to keep winning. I hope he keeps winning. It'll get bigger and bigger, and then we'll do it up, and I'm going to smash him. Just, I'm at this point training hard every day. He's doing his thing with Till, going around, jacking around, and, we'll see what happens when we both get in there in the cage, because it will happen, like I said.
Bo, calm your ass down. Khamzat Chimaev right now, it's too much.
Bo Nickal is a 3-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion. So will he be equal with Khamzat in the wrestling game? Well, it's hard to say, but he definitely has a great ground game. We know that Nickal won't get Chimaev yet, but he's definitely got his own hype train going. If he comes in and keeps winning, then the meeting with Chimaev could happen pretty soon.
Realm, which in this case is the octagon, is that going to matter to you?
Some of these guys like that, like Khamzat.
He's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
He's just an absolute animal, non-stop in every way, striking, wrestling, conditioning. Apparently, because all his fights are finished real quick.
Yeah.
So he's never had to show that side of things. But apparently his conditioning is like nothing you've ever seen as well.
Those Chechens, man. They're some fierce fucking human beings.
I heard some stories about that as well, which
Chechnya
I'm not going to go into.
It's a hard place.
It's a very hard place. Apparently there's a lot of craziness going on there right now.
Oh, yeah. With the Ukraine situation,
No, nothing to do with that, sadly. I mean, that's...
Oh, there's more on top of that.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow too much of what's going on in that world, but I do know that it's a war-torn place. And when I saw this, there's a documentary that somebody put out, a small piece, like a 20-minute one on Khamzat and his past, and interviewing him and talking about his childhood, and that's how you make a person like that.
Oh, that's it. I mean, he comes from a tough place.
Yeah.
From a tough place, you're going to create tough men. I mean, look at him. The guy's an absolute animal.
Well, what do you think? After what we saw, who do you think would have won? Write your thoughts down in the comment section below, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more future MMA news.